Welcome to Break On Through, the podcast where we talk to up-and-coming musicians about their journey to the top, from where they started and where they're going. And today I've got on the Cheapeasies. How's it going, guys? Hey, everybody. I lost about the first 5 minutes of this interview. I don't know what happened, but basically what we covered was Brandon, Justin, and Steve, where they started, how they were kind of in a band in their younger years a long time ago. And then how they kind of just moved around to different bands throughout the years to when they kind of like got to where they are now. Unfortunately, this did happen. These guys are fucking amazing though, and it's not going to affect the quality of this interview just because these guys were so amazing. So we didn't miss a whole lot. It was just a lot of joking around and stuff. Luckily, we didn't lose any of the good stuff, which is what you're going to hear after this. I'm probably just going to feed it right into the show, or maybe this is just where I'll start it. I'm probably going to cut out the whole beginning that I usually say because we've already heard it a bunch of times. But yeah, check them out. They're Cheapeasies. They're out of Ohio, or the Cleveland area. They make phenomenal punk music that is very reminiscent of back in the 90s, and it even has like a feel of maybe even older than that. But support these guys on Bandcamp. Throw them some money. I'm going to say that also at the end because it was already recorded. But really, we need bands like this. We need to stop promoting studio-created artists and start bringing back this DIY culture. So, yeah, here we go. Without further ado, we'll kind of just jump right into it. And thanks for listening, guys.
That kept me sane for a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And it was a kind of a nice outlet for us to have.
Oh, well, I mean, at least you guys had it. Yeah, I mean, but it, like, that's awesome because, I don't know, you guys already have that, like, relationship. So I guess for a lot of bands, when they were starting out and then COVID hit, it kind of, you know, that's a lot of what I hear on the show is, like, it really fucked everybody up. But I guess it's good that you guys have known each other for so long that you could kind of weather that storm and just, I guess, jam together, practice, get tighter, get better. So, I mean, you guys are lucky in that aspect. I mean, the music you're making is fucking great, so it's pretty fucking awesome. I'm trying not to be all, like, weird because I've grown to be, like, a fan of your music. I like it that much. It reminds me of, like, being a teenager. I listened to a lot of, like, the Misfits and shit, so I liked a lot of punk music when I was growing up. So when I heard you guys, I was like, this is, like, the lost shit that we have fucking lost over the years. And not only that, but it's done so well. The songs are good. I don't know. I love it. It's really great. It's really great.
Which is funny because a lot of people that I talk to that have listened to it have said the same thing. They're like, this takes me back to this and this time or whatever. So there's like definitely there's a lot of this stuff that I was listening to like back in the 90s. And I mean, I don't know, maybe what we're doing isn't very, you know, fashionable right now, but I mean, it definitely it works for us.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are doing it, and that's what everybody is telling me. Everybody that's listening to it is like, yeah, this is really taking me back.
No, fuck that, man. It's never out of fashion. There's always going to be punk rockers out there. Always.
Not to us, it's not.
Yeah, well, not to us.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Do you guys tend to draw like older guy? Like, I'm 40. Do you guys have like an older crowd that's like, maybe not, I'm not saying like your only crowd, but do you get like that group of guys? It's like, fuck yeah, man, this is like high school all over again.
We're 40 as well, and that's primarily.
Actually, I'm going to be 47 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we definitely get we get a bunch of we get a lot of people that are in bands that we've seen over the years, a lot of people that we know, but every once in a while I'm surprised I'll get a younger guy that'll come up to me and be like, man, like that was really awesome, or like what you're doing is great, and like they have no idea what it is, but you know, it's good stuff. So.
I'd love to hear it live, man, because the recorded stuff is just so clean. So I'm gonna kind of go around here, and who plays what? I'm pretty sure, Justin, you play guitar, right?
Yeah, I play guitar and sing.
Brandon, you play bass.
Bass, yeah.
And then you play drums. So I want to kind of go through the individual persons here. Like, how did you guys get into like playing what you play? Like, what influenced you as a younger person to get into what you do now? And you know what? You're the oldest, so you get to go first now.
Well, actually, actually more of a guitar player, believe it or not. I've actually been playing guitar for, probably close to 40 years now.
He will outshred anybody in this room.
Wow.
He's a ripper.
And then I got to the point where, I couldn't find a drummer that played the way I wanted to hear a drummer play. So I said, well, I got to do it myself, and bought a set of drums, started playing, and just kind of shot myself in the foot. Now I'm like the designated drummer now.
Do you like it? Do you like being the drummer though?
Yeah. Like over the past handful of years, I can finally say I feel comfortable at calling myself a drummer, not just somebody that.
Yeah, it took a long time for him to admit that out loud. I'm surprised he even just said that.
Like,
It sounds great. I mean, it's
really
tight.
It's fun.
I mean, you sound great doing it. I mean, you're fucking killing it. I don't know how you do it, man. I have a drum set, and I want to blow that thing up most of the time. I can't carry a tune for shit. But like, did you have somebody like in your life that like influenced you to start playing? We're gonna go back to guitar, right? So
definitely.
Okay, go ahead.
My dad, for sure. When I was a kid, like my first memory of being alive was hearing the Ventures. Like that's pretty much all he played was like the Ventures, like Walk Don't Run, all the surf stuff. I don't think I knew that another band existed until I was about maybe 5 or 6 years old, and then he was playing Beatles and Supremes and Motown and all kinds of stuff like that. And he played guitar too, and he also played bass. He played in like years ago he played in like a polka band, and then he was in another band around here called the King's Crest Five, and it was just like Rolling Stones kind of stuff, but early Stones and the Kinks, that kind of stuff. And then that kind of got the ball rolling. Like that's all I want to do is just listen to music. I would just sit at home. I have a picture of me. I'm like 3 years old, just sitting in front. Like they bought me my own record player, like the little lunchbox style one that had the it was a Welcome Back kind of record player.
I know. I actually know what you're talking about.
But so I would just sit there and just listen to my dad's records all day long. That's all I cared about. And then eventually, I got a little bit older, and he showed me like a couple of chords on guitar, and from that point I just took what he showed me and just ran with it, and probably within a couple of months I was as good as he was. He's the same way too. Like you hand us some random instrument that we've never seen or heard, show me how it works, I'll figure out some basic form of a song on it in like 20 minutes.
He like shreds on banjo and stuff.
I want to hear that. That's cool.
I should have brought him in.
Oh man, yeah, but that's like that's awesome because you don't get a lot of bands where everybody's just like, yeah, you hand me some shit, we'll play it. Like it's good because if anybody ever needed to switch up or like show somebody something, I don't know. I just think it's cool. It's very dynamic as opposed to other bands where like this dude just does this or this dude just does this. So I think that's even cooler. I mean, you guys are awesome, man. So,
it works great for this band too, for me playing guitar, because when he's coming in with new songs, he'll show them to us, and I'm already hearing the drums for what he's playing on the guitar, like because I can already just in his picking, I can pick up like the percussion, kind of the picking. So I kind of already have an idea of what he wants to hear. So it works well in me knowing both instruments.
It's like automatic.
That's awesome. Did you guys always have like a vision of being like? I mean, I'm just gonna keep calling you a punk band because to me, you guys are a punk band. So I mean, was that always the path? Like, is that what? Like, I know you guys played together before, but was that the goal? Did you get together and be like, we're gonna make punk music?
Well. Because we've played in like such heavy bands, like we've all played in heavier bands and metal bands and hardcore bands and stuff like that. This stuff, I started doing this kind of stuff, and to me, it's a little bit more of a challenge. It's more like a singer-songwriter kind of thing to write this kind of stuff and to play this kind of stuff. It's just more. It's more challenging overall. Like we can rip through metal songs, we can play hardcore, so we can come up with that stuff and just like that stuff just pours out of us. But I mean, doing this is kind of more of a challenge.
Now you're doing. Are you on vocals, or do you guys switch off? Like, what's the vocal situation?
I'm on vocals. Yeah.
A lot. I when I was listening to a lot of it reminded me of like the early. Well, I guess not early, but the '90s era, like punk and stuff. And
Yeah,
that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like it melded it all together, I guess. But that's cool. My dad. I don't know if you looked up any about the show or anything, but that's why I started this. My father was a musician too. He's been playing for 50-something years. He's still playing to this day. He's fucking amazing. Never made it though. And I wanted to start a podcast that could, like, it's not a big podcast, guys, so don't get too excited. It's pretty small right now. I just started out. But I want to create just an extra platform for people that could listen and maybe hear what you guys are doing, and maybe the right person will come along and hear it. My dad never got a shot, and it's tragic to me that you guys are out there making the quality music that you're making, and you're still, talking to me. You guys should be huge. The music you're making is fucking phenomenal. It's just,
we're not well known.
That's awful. And I didn't know that. Honest to God, the first time I listened to you guys, I was like, these guys got to be fucking huge or something. And then I went on YouTube, and I was super fucking surprised at like how many views you had. I don't understand it because it's really that fucking good. I mean, I see and hear a lot of these other bands that just kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it's not fucking good. But they got the views. They somehow got the views, and I don't know. It sucks. They're pushing the wrong fucking music these days, in my opinion.
Like, to me, like I try to, when we're coming up with stuff, I try to write stuff that like I would want to hear. But then again, like I said, like we're 40 years old. You know what I mean? Like I don't really have any idea of what young kids are listening to, and if I found out, I probably wouldn't like it.
I have kids. I know what they're listening to. It's pretty unfortunate.
We're just trying to do stuff that like we would want to hear.
Yeah, nobody's writing our favorite songs. So
right.
So we're not going to get like a Cheapeasies meets Cardi B record anytime soon.
That's not going to happen
unless somebody decides to do one of them funky mashups.
Talk, yeah.
That could be pretty cool. But Justin, what's your story? Like, how did you start out when you were younger? Like, did you always, know what you were gonna do?
As a little kid, I turned on MTV and I saw Twisted Sister Stay Hungry in 1984, and I took one look at that, and I was like, "This is it. This is what I'm doing."
Nice.
For me, yeah, no, it was a lot of sitting in front of MTV and looking at their hair metal bands and looking at Rat. We were just fooling around with an acoustic guitar in the kitchen over there and playing Rat, Lay It Down on acoustic guitar. It's something you should never do. And I'm watching that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I'm watching that kind of stuff in Quiet Riot, and I'm watching like Kiss and all that kind of stuff. And in between living here and in California, where that hair metal stuff was, you could not get away from it. There was, everywhere you looked, Slaughter and Winger and Poison and all that stuff. That's the stuff that like I was digesting at a young age, and I just couldn't get enough of that stuff. I loved all that stuff.
Oh,
and in between that, my sister had she was kind of like queen of the 80s, and she had more bands like Duran Duran and the Smiths and stuff like that. And so I was getting it. I was just like kind of sucking up as much as I could, and looking through records and like putting fingerprints all over CDs. I didn't even know what CDs were.
Wow. So Steve he had like somebody who was like doing it. You were just around it and just soaking it in.
Yeah, I was just eating up everything.
So I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah, I was eating up everything, yeah, and for me, like when I got older too, when I found out more about like punk rock and about DIY and the fact that you could take that stuff and you could make it happen yourself without like needing some kind of like major label backing you or some kind of something to make that happen for you. You could just go out and do it yourself. That was like really where I started moving.
Absolutely. Yeah, the DIY culture is where it's at. It's kind of where punk came from. So